across contexts, whether it's a home, it's school, at the workplace, or in a public spaces. So this next hour invite us to unpack those dynamics, question the systems we participate in, and bring more inclusive ways of being. They're eating. To guide us through this important dialogue, we are joined by some incredible voices. Please join me in welcoming our moderator for this session. Swati Bharadwaj ma'am, Assistant Professor at the Women and Gender Studies Department, Savitribai Phule, Pune University. Swati ma'am brings a wealth of academic insight and grounded field experience of these dialogues. We welcome Saraswati Kasturi Ranjan ma'am, a senior legal expert deeply engaged in gender justice and right-based frameworks. Mr. Vivekanand, a leading LGBTQIA+ rights advocate and CEO of Hamsafar Trust, one of the India's pioneering health and human rights organization. Please give them all a warm round of applause as we invite them onto the stage.
It's a time that Vivek arrives. Girls, I think we need to wake up. The Shalini clap. Come on. Everyone's awake now?
I know. I've never received a warmer welcome.
It's truly an honor to have such an inspiring and diverse panel with us today. People who have not just spoken up for change but lived it, challenged norms, and inspired communities across the country. Swati ma'am, over to you. Please come.
Do you want to just sit there and do this one?
Hello, Chief.
Good afternoon, everyone, and I'm really glad to be part of this event. And I will take just 1 minute to thank everyone who is part of this student family community, whatever you want to talk or call it. And so I would like to be part of this entire gathering and really thank everyone who made it possible for me to come here. And I know that looking at three of us and looking at all of you, you might feel that we are here to give you that this ये करना है ये नहीं करना है ऐसे करो वैसे नहीं करो. So we are definitely, three of us are not here to give you any advice. We are here to understand where we are. And as someone introduced me, that I'm part of the Women's Studies Center, University of Pune. So every day we meet students of your age, and we know that you hate us. I know that, and it is very good that we start with a very positive note that we hate each other, and then we can talk about why and how we create some dialogue and sense of belongingness with each other, because finally we get along. And so when I say hate, it is a strong word, but it is not actually hate. It is about the kind of resistance which all of us have we also had when we were of your age, to any kind of advice or any kind of suggestion, that do this, don't do this. This is something which is advisable. It is for your better future. The catch line for all of us who are parents, कि तुम्हारे भले के लिए बोल रहे हैं. तो we are not here for your भले के लिए, we are here for our भले के लिए. So हमारा जो है वो हम आपसे कुछ सीखने आए हैं. हाँ, so I am here actually to learn more, but obviously इस गैदरिंग में हम वन टू वन बात तो नहीं कर सकेंगे. We will not talk one to one, but yes, we will talk about, as this panel was curated to talk about gender and about women, about not only those who are bodily women mainly, and those of us who feel like women, who feel like men, who feel like men or women at all. And so it is something which I would just like to add one thing, that we are breaking the barriers. So all of you and all here are in different ways are breaking the barriers which are set by family, society, community, or as Saras and I was chatting earlier, we also put barriers on ourselves. So we are trying to break those barriers. So this session is not to learn what is gender equality, but it is actually to unlearn what we impose onto us as men, as women, or as transgender, or those who don't fit into this binary of men and women. So what we put onto ourselves is something we are trying to learn. This is important because this shows, like this gathering shows, that women are in higher education. And statistics, which all of us would like to believe in, the statistics also shows that women are in, like number wise if we talk, 49% of women are pursuing higher education. So big achievement. We have started from 10%, 9% to now 49%. We will celebrate, and yes, we need to celebrate that. But if we talk about women's work participation rate, it is not going about 24%. So, as Amartya Sen talked about actual women, where are these women who are missing? 49% and 24%. Where are these missing women? I don't know the maths. So you do the statistical analysis. So if we do that, if you talk about these missing women, maybe many of us right now who are here, like those of you who are here, will be those missing women. I don't want to be missed out, this panel is very important. So here we are not talking about learning that what you learn or what we learn, but it is about changing the society and gender disparity. And in this case, these two panelists are playing an important role for all of us, where they will share about their own journey and their own ideas and perception and how they understand gender equality. And especially when you will, like when you are part of the Shalini, that means you are aspiring to do something, job, work, or something in your life. And so there are many things which you will encounter in society. Those are not only the problems, hurdles, but there are many things which we encounter in society, and how you will overcome them, how first you will understand them, and then the strategies, the negotiations, those challenges, how you will face them, is something we will be talking about in this particular panel. And so as the person who will be facilitating this discussion, I welcome both of them. And before I ask them any question, I would like to talk to them, or I would like them to talk about their, very briefly, in 2 or 3 minutes, but their own journey. Because there was this formal introduction, who is who, but if how they understand themselves and how they want to present themselves to you. So I would request first Saraswati to talk about it. And then,
So, good afternoon, leaders, as well as Shalini. Are you excited to be here? Yes! Thank you. I'm even more excited. I just feel like jumping. It's so lovely to see the sea of blue here. So I said, what a day to spend a Friday. All the way from Mumbai to Pune, I was in Delhi yesterday, and I did meet some Shalinis when I was in Delhi. So I think this is a lovely week. So to go back to what Swati ji talked about, my journey. And as I'm speaking, I'm thinking, one day many of you will be on stages like this, talking about your own journey. So as you're listening to me, I want each of you to start thinking that, what will be my story when I go there? So please think of that, but also listen to me. So I was born in a family of 7 children. We are 4 plus 3 cousins. We don't use the word cousins. I was born in Bokaro. Then my dad moved over to south to Kerala. So that is where I did my education. So how much of our income is earned in a family of 7? No, you don't have everything enough of whatever you want. So I wanted to do engineering after my 10th standard, and I was the youngest. So by the time my sister got married, my brother settled and all of that, at those days we didn't have an engineering college nearby. So I was told engineering college would mean that you need to be put in a hostel, which means more expense. CA is a very cheap course, you can do that. So I said, okay, CA to CA, correct? Whatever we do, we will do well. So I said, okay, I jumped into CA. And then my dad, being, he was working in a public sector, so he wanted me to join the same company. I said, that is not a good thing. Everybody will know as my dad's daughter. I'm proud of my dad, I love him. But I wanted my dad to be known as my father, not me as his daughter. So I said, I'll get away from coaching. So I spoke to my uncle and I said, "Mujhe Bangalore mein kuch kaam se laana hai. Okay, whatever is the salary, it doesn't matter, I will come." So one of his relatives knew somebody, it was called Lovelock and Lewis, today it's called PricewaterhouseCoopers. So way back, overnight, I said bye-bye to my parents and I came, parked myself in my uncle's house and I started working. My salary was 1,000 rupees. So after that I got into a PSU and then I came to Deloitte. So now it is 18 years in Deloitte. So a chartered accountant and I'm a tax partner by what we call in Deloitte. How many of you know Deloitte? Show of hands. Oh wow, this is lovely. So, okay. Yes, we do. Yes, we do. So Udayan Care is very close to our hearts, and as I said, Shalini is very close to our hearts. But I'm glad you know about Deloitte. So we are the largest professional services firm globally, and we are typically known for audit and tax. One of the strongest consulting firms as well. So I belong to this tax practice. And do you know what tax practitioners do? We get people to pay tax. Do you think people will be happy when we get them to pay tax? So we are generally known as the most khadoos of people. But about 2 years back, when my CEO was looking for how do we make change in the organization? How do we make ourselves as a people-centric organization? Because in a professional service firm, who does the work? People do the work, right? Without people, can we run the firm? We can't. So people are the most important of our assets. And how do we make sure that we take care of them then? So they said, my CEO got hold of me and said, can you be the chief happiness officer? Now, tax is not known to be happy people. We are all the time reading in the bada books. We try to see what is wrong in that, what is right in what people are doing. We try to go to the officers and say, hey, what you are doing is wrong, what I am doing is right. Hamesha jagda mode. But then I was asked to be the happiness officer. I said, okay, happiness to happiness, I will do happiness. So that is how I got into this journey of being the chief happiness officer. So initially I was taking care of happiness for people. Now I've got another role and I'm just loving this, which is why also I'm here. And I work a lot with Kiran ji and what does it mean? all through our life, we get things. And there is some point in time, and it doesn't have to be very later on in your life. And I know many of you do social impact in your own ways. It's always important to give back. So I'm now responsible for happiness of communities as well. So happiness at Deloitte is happiness for people and happiness for communities. That is what is about me.
Thank you, my God, this is so inspiring. For sure.
Oh, my God, I'm ready to hear you.
Okay. So, first of all, it's wonderful to meet all the young Shalinis. Such occasions are very rare in my life. And I met Anjali some 2 months ago, and she said, no, you have to come here. And it's been such an overwhelming moment for me. And everybody is comfortable with English? Yes. चलेगा ना? Yes. हिंदी बोल सकता हूँ, मराठी पण बोलू शकतो. So okay, good. So I'm going to throw some words at you. Just raise your hand and let me know if you heard of them. Have you heard of a term? Yes. शर्माओ मत. मैं अज्यूम नहीं कर रहा हूँ कि आप ये हो. अगर सुना है तो हाथ ऊपर करें. आप में से कितनों ने एक शब्द सुना है? द टर्म इज कॉल्ड लेस्बियन. वंडरफुल. आई एम हैप्पी टू सी दैट शालिनी नो मोर अबाउट लेस्बियन देन अबाउट गे मेन. वी नीड टू डू सम मोर ट्रेनिंग. हाउ मेनी ऑफ यू हैव हर्ड द टर्म ट्रांसजेंडर? किन्नर, हिजड़ा, यू हैव हर्ड. ठीक है. आप में से कितनों के, हाउ मेनी ऑफ यू हैव फ्रेंड्स हु विल आइडेंटिफाई? का कोई दोस्त है जो बोलेगा मैं गे हूं? आई एम हैप्पी टू सी सम हैंड्स वेंट अप, मगर फिर भी नंबर बहुत कम है. मैं जो ये जर्नी है यहां से शुरू करूंगा. एंड आई टेल यू अ वेरी स्मॉल स्टोरी. आई वॉज इन स्कूल इन 7th or 8th standard. And there was this boy who studied in my same class, and his name was Sailesh, but he was very effeminate. Everybody called him Shaila, and everybody told him, do you all understand the term baila? Baila सुना है? Baila is आप औरत की तरह हो, तो baila है. So everybody would tell him कि ये बाइला है, ये बाइला है, ये बाइला है. And I was good friends with him. And then one day I realized, because my friends would tell me, तू उसके साथ क्या कर रहा है? तू वो बाइला के साथ क्या बात करता है? तेरा क्या उससे लेना देना है? तू भी उसके जैसा है क्या? And I got scared. I withdrew. I distanced myself from this boy called Sailesh. And 50 years later, when I think, that is one thing I regret in my life, because I was like him. You know, I was 10 years old, just 10 years old, okay? And आप बच्चे हो, आप identify कर सकोगे. I was 10 years old and I had seen a film called आराधना. आप लोगों ने गाना सुना होगा, रूप तेरा मस्ताना, प्यार मेरा दीवाना. सुना है? Yes, sir. Right, thank you. I fell in love with Rajesh Khanna. I did not fall in love with a woman. And that day I felt, now when I look back, there is no difference between Sailesh and me. We are exactly the same, because some of us are different. And we have to make an effort that the difference should be respected. And many times I have seen people use the word normal. We are as normal as anybody else. And my journey began from my school to my graduation, and I was always very conscious. I have to be good in my studies, I have to give good results, you know. And then a time came कि शादी करना पड़ेगा घर में. And obviously, you know, Bombay में upper middle class, Punjabi handsome boy, many offers. हमारे लड़की से शादी करो, हमारे लड़की से शादी करो. And that was the time I realized that I have not told anyone that I am gay. But if I get married to a woman, I'll be ruining her life. And that is something which I don't have a right to do. And I am talking about 1980s. Bachapati, I am 65 today. Okay. So I am talking about 70s, 80s back then to take a stand कि शादी नहीं करेंगे. I was lucky, कभी घर में मारवार नहीं खाई और बोला नहीं, कभी वक्त लगा बोलने में, डरता बहुत था. And then one day I met some friends who were like me, and we came together to start an organization called Humsafar Trust. Humsafar is companions on a journey. We were in it together. It's a Hindustani word. साथ चलने वाले. हिंदी में शब्द होता है समपथिक. So let's walk together. And the first thing that came our way was, I'm now talking which year? 1994. The first thing that came to us was that in India, there was a law that Britishers had brought into this country in 1865, which declared homosexuality as a crime. So that made all gay community, that made all the transgender, lesbian community as criminals. So we decided that, forget, that I was as young as all of you. I also wanted to settle down in a career and get married and have a family, maybe adopt 2-3 babies, live with my partner, but that was not meant to be. So what did we do? We decided that let's come together as an alternate family. And 31 years later, this February I completed 31 years at Humsafar, and I still look at this organization as family, as an alternate family. And मैम जैसा आपने कहा कि कल को ऐसे ना कई बच्चे होंगे यहाँ पर होंगे, आज मेरे साथ 2 बच्चे हैं जो अब मेरी जगह पर बैठते हैं जाकर, and then they speak very strongly, very calmly, and there are just 2 people who are with me over here. So ये मेरी छोटी सी जर्नी है. People tell me अरे आपने क्या क्या देखा लाइफ में, oh how could you manage? I don't think I managed anything. I got very good support. I had a loving family, and I have something called a chosen family. भगवान ने मुझे मौका नहीं दिया that I could be a father, but I am a chosen father. They are my children. So that's my introduction, and let's move forward.
More elaborate upon the challenges, like because you are inclusively cultivating, you have plus movement also and other issues. What challenges would you like to address in your efforts to include people of different sexualities, transgender or people from different sexualities, when they are getting single inverted comma included? What are the challenges which you would like to articulate and talk to young girls?
Yeah, see Swati, what happens is that one is to accept yourself as gay. That is the first journey. I took time to accept myself that I am gay. And then you realize that acceptance is not there. So every day of my life, in some way or the other, I have to work towards acceptance and inclusion. We still do workshops for young ones where they can tell their parents that they are gay, where they can tell their siblings they are gay, where they can come out at their workplace. Because you have to understand one thing, that how difficult it is for me to say work with Anjali in Udayan, and Anjali says, अरे विवेक वो एक लड़की है, तेरे लिए देखा है बहुत अच्छी है, तेरा शादी करेंगे, and I'm uncomfortable. I have a choice. I can tell her that thank you Anjali, but I like boys, I like men. So वो जो होता है, it's an everyday challenge. You're talking about inclusion, you're talking about acceptance, and acceptance and inclusion begins with yourself. First, I have to accept myself. Like I have seen many youngsters that when they come out to their parents, when they go and tell their parents that I am gay, they take a stand कि मैंने तो उनको बता दिया. Okay, I have a simple conversation with them that first you took years to come out to yourself, to accept yourself. Now you have come out to your parents. So now your parents are, you have done your journey. Your parents are going to do your journey. Now they have a journey to do. Do not stop holding their hands. It is your job, it is your responsibility. Sometimes parents may not accept, sometimes parents might even hit you, sometimes parents may just get angry, they might take you to psychiatrists कि चलो इनको बदलवा के लाते हैं. वो बहुत होता है, conversion therapy बहुत होता है ना? People say, oh, we'll convert them, they will become heterosexuals from homosexuals. If I could do that, ma'am, I would convert some real good-looking straight man into gay. See, conversion has to be both ways. It can't work one way. To your advantage, then to my advantage also. So this battle of inclusion, then when you go to your workplace, you are struggling to come up. Because, you know, there are studies which prove that from the age of 24, 25, till the time you work, which is like average 65, 60-70% of our time goes in our workplace. And then we can't tell our friends. My friends would tell me, oh, have you seen Satyam Shivam Sundaram? Oh my God, Janataman is so sexy. But I couldn't tell them that in that film, Shashi Kapoor, हम लोग जैसों के लिए she was a goddess, है ना? I would worship her. But I would think of Shashi Kapoor, he was such a handsome man. So these barriers that are there, and these are very simple things. These are very, very simple things. At the age of 10, did anybody come and tell me that you should fall in love with Rajesh Khanna? There are a lot of barriers in our mind. So these are the challenges that we address. And with transgender communities, they are which shows that 65 children drop out of school by the time they are in 8th class. अगर आप 8th standard में बच्चा स्कूल से ड्रॉप हो जाएगा तो पढ़ेगा क्या? And in last 31 years, some of the best performance in my organizations are trans kids who dropped out of school, then went back to school. Two of my kids, they went back to school, they did their masters. One of them went to London School of Hygiene and Tropical Medicine, and today is the chief operations officer. Very manly, very boycott. Are you boycott? Why is she moving around with this boycott? She's a lesbian, man. Every girl who has a boycott is not a lesbian. But you are bullying kids, which does not allow the children to exist at the age of 65, and which I have carried on for a very long time. I believe in two things: education for all, employment for all. How them that these kids leaving school. मुझे नहीं निकाला गया. But I don't know what happened with that boy Sailesh. I never saw him after my 10th class. You know? So these challenges, so what happens is that your sexualities may differ, you know, your labels may differ, your challenges may differ. Like I would say, अगर आप देखोगे ना spectrum देखोगे challenges का, the most invisible spectrum is nothing wrong. We all are as normal comes.
Thank you. If I may just add like we discussed earlier also, that what do you think are the challenges for women to work? Because we talked about it as employment as something which is important, work is important.
So I will talk about women, but I was questioning whether I could just add to what will be more accepted. I just ask, see, उनका gender identity जो भी हो, sexual orientation जो भी हो, why are you bothered? They are coming here to work. let them do their work, let them do what they want after office hours. I said it is not that. You are not somebody who will park a part of yourself at home and come to work. You are the same person, and when you come to office, when you come to work, you should come as your own self, whole and everything. So I just thought, I would say that, no, I just wanted to add what you said, Vivek, saying that from a corporate perspective, this is what we think. I just wanted to add that. Now coming back to your question, and this is a very favorite question of, in terms of what is, how can we be more inclusive from a gender perspective? So it is honestly, are we there? We are not. So if you look at Deloitte itself as an organization, what is the percentage of women we hire overall? So we are about an organization of 35,000 people. We will have about 10,000 as women. We should be having 17,000, and this is what the organized sector where women are comfortable working. It is not like a quote unquote manufacturing section manufacturing sector where women still are seen to be, not equally capable, and there is a long journey there. But when it comes to leadership at Deloitte, we are only 17%. Where are the women? One, it's only 40%. Two, as they go up in the organization, this 40 drops down to 17. So what are the things that are sort of stopping? And I want you, all of you, to let me know. Have you heard of bias against women or stereotyping women? Have you heard these words?
Yes.
Can any of you tell me what you think it is? Yeah, please.
So basically stereotype is like that if women can't do the driving things, women can't do the maths logical things, women can't be a chartered accountant. This types of stereotype.
Love you, love you. When you said women can't do driving, so I have a driver who drops me to office and home every day. So one day when he dropped me at home, just when we reached home, it was raining very badly. So I turned around and said, Arjun is the name of my driver. I said, Arjun, how will you go back? Should I drop you to your home? So he said, okay, madam, thoda dar raha tha wo. So I got into the driving seat, wo piche baitha. I went home, I took him, I dropped him. And he said, madam, aap acha gaadi chalate ho. I said, main jo bhi karti hu, acha hi karti hu. So he said, what is so much surprise in that main acha gaadi chalati hu. I said, and when I was driving back, I was thinking, if it had been my husband or my son who had dropped him, would he have made this offhanded compliment? He wouldn't. So this is exactly what is unconscious bias in terms of, and this is one small example, saying that I was thinking when a woman comes for an interview and there is a lot that needs to happen. First she has to get educated, she has to get out of the house, she has to get out of the kitchen, all of this. She has to get out, take time off the household chores, all of this come and you come to work and you're sitting giving an interview, the person sitting opposite, maybe a male, I don't know, maybe it could be women as well, and I want to talk about it as well. Thinking, ये शादीशुदा है क्या? When will she get married? कितना दिन छुट्टी लेगी ये शादी के लिए? उसके बाद उसका बच्चा होगा तो छुट्टी लेगी क्या? काम कैसे करेगी? Are you all able to follow Hindi?
Yes.
So anybody know, please, and I'm happy to sort of translate. We need to be absolutely inclusive here. So I think these are all unconscious biases working against women. And then, okay, with lot of difficulty you get into the work, you're sitting in a meeting and you're thinking, okay, this is the first time I'm in a meeting, everybody in coat suit, booted, and I'm sitting there in a sari, in a corner, and I'm thinking, let me understand before I ask question. What is going on in the mind of others? No value add. Okay. They are thinking no value add, I start asking questions. अरे लड़की है तो बहुत बात करती. What am I supposed to do? You're supposed to do one thing. Ignore everything. Be who you are. So to me, unconscious bias is not something that we can take away with a magic wand. Do I have a magic wand which says to tomorrow onwards no unconscious bias? Possible? But tomorrow onwards can I say unconscious bias or not? I am who I am. I will make my presence felt. Possible or not? That is exactly what we will do. And that's exactly what I've been doing. It doesn't matter what you think of you. What I think of me matters. Yes or no? Yes. So that is the first message I want to leave with all of you. Unconscious bias is here, will be there, will always be there. The bias may change. Tomorrow it may be a situation where women talk and men will have a situation where we'll have to prompt them. Hey men, please talk. We may have to come to that stage, and in which case there could be an unconscious bias the other way. But whatever is the situation, we are who we are, we respect ourselves for who we are, we will bring value to the table where we are. That is my lesson number one. My lesson number two is, and this is again I want to share a story of myself. I told you that my CEO picked me up for being a chief happiness officer. You know what I did? I said, my CEO in his wisdom has chosen me. Okay, of course I will do. But I did not do that. He said, hey, why did you choose me? And you know what he said? And there were two others who were picked up along with me, all three of us were ladies, and he turned around and said, he came to me and asked why me. I none of them asked me. He said, I'm born to be here. I think that is one thing we as women should learn. Stop challenging yourself every time something comes up. Start believing in yourself. That is when others will believe in you. You should actually tap the desk and say, why not me? We need to get there. But for starters, stop asking why me. So I thought I'll share that as well. The other one, and this is maybe the third thing I wanted to look at is, can we stand up for each other? So I was actually reading a book from Sheryl Sandberg, who's been the CEO of Google, and she's written this book called Lean In. Yeah, and CEO of Facebook. Then she became the CEO of Facebook. And she was with Google when Google was. She talks about when she was in her initial stages of Google, when Google was a startup and she was in the family way, and she said during her pregnancy clothes were taken. So when she came in, it was late, she had to park her car in some corner because she was late, she would come running in, that would make her feel more nauseated, all of that, until one day she went to the CEO and she said, why don't you reserve some parking slots for women, for pregnant women near the lift? And the CEO said, yes, of course. Till her 9th month of pregnancy, she never felt like asking. And then she was ashamed and she said, there may be so many pregnant women before me who may not have known the CEO and would have hesitated to ask. Why didn't I think of this for them? So I think this is again a story that as women, we know the challenges women go through. And we should be leaning in for the women and pulling them up. And it may be something that we have not undergone, but please keep your radars on. Every day, there is some woman who is facing some challenge, and unless we pull up, the leadership is never going to go from 17% to 40% to 50%. It will be where it is. And my last bit of advice on this will be with all of this. Don't think we can ever have everything. And that is when and I've been asked this question, saying that, how are you managing your family and work? And I have a 98-year-old mother-in-law at home. My son is married and he's got 2 children. They're 2-year-old, so I'm grandmom as well. So we are 4 generations at home. And I'm always saying that, how do you manage 4 generations? I said, they manage themselves, I manage me. And I put in a system in place where people can be taken care of. If something goes wrong, I step in. If everything is going fine, I am not required, I do my work. So, and I don't keep killing myself every day, saying that, did I do this? Should I have done this? Should I have taken care of my child a little more? Should I have made sure I spend a little more time with my mother-in-law? The answer is all of this. I try to do as much as I can. But if I can't, because I also have life to live. So I think that's something we need to learn to accept. Don't carry this feeling of guilt. So I thought only if all of this happen, inclusion will happen. That's the message I wanted to leave.
Also, it is about what Kamala Bhasin, one of the important feminist activists, said, and she used to write beautiful songs. And there is one Hindi song which says that "Tu bolegi, muh kholegi, tabhi to zamana badlega." And that is what both of them are talking about. That yes, we have to speak up. And also to go back to the first example which Saraswati talked about is how many women are there. And now we will make little more, like because we are talking about inclusion, marginality, etc. We will make it little more complicated that yes, maybe there are whatever percentage of women who are there, from where they are coming in from. So what kind of region, class, caste they are coming in from in those positions. Because we always talk about glass ceiling where we can see the top but we can't reach. But we never talk because glass ceiling is something which all of us are maybe familiar with. कि ग्लास सीलिंग होता है जो दिखता नहीं है लेकिन होता है and so we can't break that and go up in the ladder of the hierarchy but there are also glass walls. तो एक है जो सीलिंग है जो दिखता नहीं है but वो walls भी जो होती है those walls never allow us to come into the channel through which you go upward in the hierarchy. Because ऐसे होता है कि any organization, and Saraswati might talk more about it, is like a pyramid. Like you have more people at the bottom, but there is a channel in which you have to go and then you climb up. And there are glass walls which are there. And some of us, women who are from a particular caste and class and religion, and men of course, have glass escalators, which you can't see. Those escalators are of social and cultural capital, which was talking about, who are don't confuse people, no confusion, and everybody feels very nice. But it is about what Saraswati was talking about, that stereotypes we also do it around. So it is always easy to keep the things onto the table, as she talked about that she just went to the head and the thing got solved. But who was she? That the question Saraswati was asking, that she had the direct contact with the person. Those women who didn't have the direct contact with the person, what they will do? Like if you look at the film that Hidden Figures, where there are scientists, women scientists, black women scientists, but they never came up to our Hidden Figures, which is in that sense which talks about women who are educated, they competent women, but they were black. So they were sitting in another building, whatever. So if you look at that, what Saraswati is talking about may be more complicated, because it is not now only they, men, and they always like through his work and through their work and other things, always complicates these things, that yes, inclusion, but yes, we can't be only happy to be included, but as Saraswati is talking about, we need to make our presence felt. And to share my own experience in terms of what she was talking about, this happiness, we in the educational departments, we have mentors for students, and you might also have mentors in your schools and colleges. And we always see that women are chosen as mentors. And I said that we will not do the mentoring. And they said, why? I said, what is your idea of mentoring? They said, you have to listen to, you have to provide care, nurturance. I said, yes, that exactly mothers do at home. I am not here as a mother. I am here as an assistant professor. Give me teaching, I will do that. So it's apart from the philosophical idea of mentoring is important, we understand that. But why women are chosen? So if someone is crying, you find a woman from this time to go and pacify that person. Why? Why a man cannot hug a person and say, don't cry? Yeah. But it is something which is like those stereotypes which we also have to break. So for instance, if you are crying, it's perfectly fine. If I am talking something emotional right now, you all girls will cry, it is fine. But if a man started crying, I feel uncomfortable. So this is also our stereotypes, and which get into that interview panel. And that is also for all of us who sit on the panel is also a challenge as women, because we also, strangely, we also have this feeling towards a man that he needs a job more than a woman. And from where that comes, when you read the matrimonial advertisements in the newspaper, जीवनसाथी.com की साइट पे जाके भी देखो, none of us as women say that I want a house husband. Many men have said I don't mind my wife being a housewife. So how do we respond to that? How do we respond to these? And then comes is something which all of us need to talk about, whether we are talking about sexuality, work, etc. So over to Ji. So can you share some of the examples in terms of, because you talked about why diversity and why inclusion is important, how conscious efforts which you are making to address diversity?
Yeah, so I'll just go to Saraswati's example of this pregnant woman, and they had to reach out to the CEO. And I know we are empowering young women to get up and ask for it. But in that process, are we making men also accountable? Why is it always the responsibility of the woman to fight for herself and the man will not come forward? It has happened once, but did they turn it into a policy?
Correct. That's what it is.
Yeah, if it's turned into a policy, a good thing has happened. And there's a very interesting example I had, that Humsafar started as a gay organization. Okay? So, boys club, all men around, और शादी वाले तो we are not going to get married, so pregnancy वगैरह का तो issue ही नहीं है, maternity तो होने वाला ही नहीं है. In Feb 2001, I drafted Humsafar's first human resources policy, which was just 13 pages. And then, with time, and I am a model of trial and error, I have learned. So, with time I realized that this organization is working for people living with HIV. That protects people living with HIV. Back then, HIV called for complications. You know, people needed more leave. You had to take care of their health. So what we did was, we got down into developing a policy which is for persons living with HIV. That if you have a health issue, how many more leaves you can take. More than that, what kind of medical assistance that Humsafar can provide. So we created this policy for persons living with HIV. Gender was becoming a very big issue at our end. That unfortunately one of our speakers is not here today. Her name is Zainab. So Zainab started working with me as a 19, 20-year-old kid, and she would always say कि विवेक सर, मैं गे नहीं हूँ, मैं औरत हूँ, मैं स्ट्रेट औरत हूँ. Okay? After that, from a person who was born in a boy's body, she went through a transition. Today she is this beautiful woman, does wonderful work. But she took a stand कि मैं औरत हूँ, I am a woman. So don't tell me you are gay or you are trans. No, I am a woman. You know, I stopped there. That is when we realized that Humsafar needs to develop an all-inclusive gender policy. So as an organization, we started developing an inclusive gender policy. Like at Humsafar, like, you know, we have policies that community is a priority. If you are coming from queer community, you are coming from very marginalized backgrounds. Education may not be with you. You were thrown out of schools at an early age. Then it's our responsibility. We create that policy, bring them in, and like I gave you examples, like how many of them are in senior positions today. Gender policy. We also develop an education policy. So Humsafar, like most of my teams at Humsafar, have benefited from the education policy. We provide money for education, scholarships for them, so that what was left behind they can continue once they are over here. Okay? Now, very interestingly, sometime in 2005, there's this wonderful woman, and I can't thank her enough in life. Her name is Priti Prabhupada. She was our counselor, and Priti was married, and she was married to a man. It happens, no? Girls get married to men also. So all girls don't get married to girls, Baba. I'm not here to preach that. So one day Priti comes to work, and she says, hey, you know, Vivek, I'm pregnant. And I was like, wow. Like, you know, we never thought that there'd be a woman at Humsafar would get pregnant and is very excited, mithai mangao, ye karo, wo karo. And after when I went home, I sat down and I was looking at our HR policy, and I thought to myself that we don't have any policy for pregnant women. So one of our consultants is again a wonderful woman called Alkan Dange. Very honestly, as a person who identified as gay, Alkan introduced me to a term called MTP. उससे पहले मैंने सुना कि what is MTP, okay? And then we rewrote our HR policy, which has, and today we follow all government norms, but over and above that, for pregnant women and mothers, we also have a policy like one of our women in the organization, she's adopted a 6-month-old baby. So what provisions would be given, how we'll take care of that, and over and above that, there is always a facility of work from home. Because our बच्चे के बाद 6 महीना is not enough. You know, they need. So for me, that has been a learning process, ever evolving, and where we started as Humsafar today, like many people feel, you know, oh, like a lot of agencies, they want to work with Humsafar. But in the last 30 odd years, we have almost 50 plus policies and panels that governs our organization, covering the entire spectrum of sexuality and gender. You know, what is needed in the community, and that is something we continue to do. Something new happened. That Humsafar became the first organization that introduced a child protection policy. Someone asked us that, oh, but like, why do gay men have to worry? You know, child protection. No. Gay men are very often accused to be pedophiles. They are accused to be abusers. We rather have a policy in place, and at every training workshop, we keep 145-minute session for the teams to review the child protection policy. You need to look into that. Because right next to us is a group called Support, and the incident happening at our end. But what I feel is that there are times we have intentions. Our intentions are very good, but we should document those intentions into policies and make your teams accountable for them. And that's where, you know, I get back to my first thing. Yes, it took one woman to get up and say, but that should translate into a policy so that no woman in future has to do the same thing. Thank you.
So I can also pick up on that. So because when we talk about policies for LGBTQI community, how does it work in a corporate? I just wanted to look at and maybe also share some stories. So about a year back, I had a mother who approached me. She's been working with Deloitte for many years. She comes to me and she says that, Saras, I need help. I said, okay, what help do you need? She says, I have a daughter. She has 2 daughters. And she says, my elder daughter was always, you know, used to go around with another girl. So I was thinking whether she's a lesbian. Now she's coming to me and she's saying, call me Jay, I am a boy, call me by my whatever name you have given me, that is not what I am. I am a male, so please accept me as your son. And now this girl doesn't know what she should do as a mother. And I also know of another colleague of mine, and I put her in touch with that. The other colleague had actually lost a daughter because her daughter identified as a male, and in school she was bullied, she was studying in a convent. In the convent, they would not allow her to sit with the other girls because she looked manly, all of that. And the girl took out her life. So I told this colleague of mine who reached out saying that you are treading on a very sensitive topic. Your first priority should be your child. And I told her the story of what happened, and I said, we are here to walk the path with you. And I introduced her to another person who had just transformed into a male and had gone to the gender transformation surgery. And I told her that we have a policy where gender transformation, the whole surgery cost, it is all covered under the insurance by the law. So I said, and you have all that support. And I also said that after the child goes through the procedure, we will take the child as an intern in our organization. So today the boy is working with us. The biggest happiness the boy has, can you guess? You will think getting a job now.
Yeah.
No.
Identify in the life what he want to like.
Yes, but a little more granular.
His
A
parents
little more.
accepting who.
Having an inclusive washroom. Because this person said every time he was working in another organization and it used to be male, and she would neither identify herself with male or female. And after the gender transformation surgery, when the person is says, this is every time I go to the bathroom, washroom, I don't have to think ki kaha jana. I was just thinking on the way when we were talking about this Western strategy, saying that, say in a household, only one person works, and there is a household where both the father and the mother work. You think of a village where only the men work, the women don't work. You think of a town where only the men work, the women don't work. Think of a nation like India, where 50% don't work, don't contribute to the economic stream. And they are all passive. All of us, even somebody who's sitting at home is a contributor, right? But it is passive contribution. Do you think we will be progressing enough? Absolutely not. To progress, we need everybody to be in the forefront. So that is common sense, I thought. Right, it is common sense. Everybody works, then the organization becomes better, the village becomes better, the town becomes better, the nation becomes better. But I was looking at, is there a commercial reason or a scientific reason why we should have, say, a woman or somebody put things differently on the table, which we call diversity, and this includes persons with disabilities, and those from different backgrounds, cultural background, all of that. So one story that came to me was, you remember, we had suitcases for years. It was very easy to put a wheel to the suitcase, right? But no, it took 5,000 years to get that done. You know why? Because it was considered womanly to drag a luggage. And okay, so if it's womanly, what is wrong? Can't men do something that is womanly? No. The macho egos don't allow that. And there weren't enough women travelers to justify getting into a trolley. So imagine how innovation can get delayed if women are not there to think on the table. Have you heard of the automatic auto gear cars?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I'll stop. So it was believed that only women would use auto gear cars. And initially the number of cars that were churned out were very, very minimal. So think, one, we have to contribute equally to the society. Two, we need to have diverse views on the table. Only then productivity, innovation and performance will come. So I just wanted to leave you with that thought, and yes, back to you, sir.
Thank you both of you for this enlightening discussion and sharing of many examples from your work, and I'm sure all of us have benefited because of that. And I will only urge to all of us that we need to have this continuous process of learning, which all of us are doing, but we also need to unlearn some things. So learning and unlearning goes together, and so if we do that, Then both of them were speaking about inclusion and this entire session which was talking gender in a very broader sense, not only men and women only. And so that will help us to build a society which is more inclusive, harmonious, but not where we afraid of putting the difference on the table. Because that is also very important. So with these words, I close the panel.
We'll give 10 minutes for question answers. We are running late, so just 10 minutes. Anybody who wants to ask questions, please raise your hand, the mic will come. But just 10 minutes.
Hello. Just introduce yourself and the chapter you are. Just introduce yourself and you can ask the question.
Hello everyone, good afternoon. I am Prachi Davgar from Vadodara chapter. And